And next on Arizona Midday, we have a chef that's going to show you how to master French cooking with a simple recipe. Now it's time to go gourmet in the kitchen. Today, Chef Laura is here with French cuisine that pretty much anyone can make. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
All right, when I hear French cuisine, I think, you know, that kind of scares me. What's different about French cuisine?
When people hear French cuisine, they also think gourmet. So really what that's about is not so much the ingredients as opposed to the technique that you apply to those ingredients. So if you understand a few tricks of the trade, if you will, then you're able to create a dish that you could consider gourmet by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and you said this recipe, I mean, anyone can make it home without dealing with a lot of stress.
Exactly, because we don't use a lot of ingredients. And the more you keep it simple, the better it will turn out and the better you'll feel when you're done, because you won't be looking at a huge mess behind you either.
I like that. All right, what are you making?
Well, what I did already to start was I heated up a little bit of butter in a saute pan. When the butter was hot, I took a New York strip steak that I had patted dry. So you always want to dry the meat first. Seasoned it with some salt and pepper and seared it on both sides to get some nice color. Okay. Once I've done that, I'm going to take some Dijon mustard and I'm just going to spread that right along the top. Okay. In this bowl, I have panko, which is a Japanese-style breadcrumb. You can buy it in the Asian food section at the grocery store. And then I also minced up some herbs. I have in here oregano, a little bit of rosemary, some
and you just kind of put it all in this bowl.
All mixed it up together with a little bit of garlic. Exactly. Okay. Then I'll take this, and this becomes my crust mixture. Okay, so I'll take it and I'll place it right on top of the New York strip, just so I have a nice crust on it. And then I'll press it in for good measure. And this will go into a 425-degree oven.
For how long?
For this size of a steak, for probably about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's it.
And that will give us what I would call the perfect medium rare. Okay.
Perfect.
So once we've done that, we now have a great pan though that has what we call a fond or a foundation. Fond would be French for foundation. So that's where that whole French thing comes back into play. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take the same fat that I used to cook the steak, which is a little bit of butter, and also the drippings from the meat, and I'll add some shallots that I have sliced up that go right in here, okay? And so we're going to cook these, and the recipe will tell you to cook it until aromatic. Shallot, like garlic, is an aromatic, which means until we can smell it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, once we can smell it.
Now, I would just call that an onion. What's the difference between a shallot and an onion?
Well, it's in the same family. They're both members of what's known as the allium family, actually, so they're the allies. But what's nice about a shallot is, one, it's classical for French cuisine, so you'll see that in lieu of garlic. And two, it has a sweeter flavor to it, and it doesn't leave the gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, great. That's good to know.
All right, so now that we have our shallot cooking off to be a little aromatic, I'm going to add some red wine to this. And any red wine that you like will do, but I always like using a wine that I care to drink afterward as well, okay? So I'm going to add this, and I'm just going to bring it up to a quick simmer, and as you can tell, and
that's a really quick simmer.
Cooks very, very fast, and I'm going to reduce it by half, which means I'm going to concentrate the flavor of the wine into the shallot by half, okay? Once I've done that, I'm going to add some beef stock, and you can buy this at the grocery store as well. How much? It's a 2-to-1 ratio, twice as much wine to beef stock. Okay.
Great. And by the way, everyone, this recipe is on our website, ArizonaMidday.azcentral.com.
Okay, now I'm going to show you the best part, okay? There's the technique right here. We have something in here called a roux, all right? And what that is unsalted butter that's been melted down and then flour's been added. And the way you make a roux consistent is it's equal parts by weight of fat and flour. So if you don't want to use butter, you want to use a little olive oil or something, you could do that. You can do that. That's fine, all right? So what we're going to do, though, is use this. The roux is used in French cuisine as your thickening agent, meaning it's what's going to give my sauce that consistency that I want from a sauce.
So do you just pour that in?
But not all at one time, because if I did, I would end up, instead of a sauce consistency in French known as nappe, I'd end up with something more glacé. Okay. And no glacé.
Okay. Good to know.
So I'm going to add a little bit.
Out of time, so you just kind of add a little bit and then keep adding and stirring.
And this is going to be the last little bit right here, and you'll see the only thing I need to do at this point, which is actually the most important step, is season my sauce to taste. And all I would use to season it is a little bit of kosher salt and pepper and some Dijon mustard to create a little bite on the tongue. And as you can tell, I have the perfect sauce. It's already done. That's it.
And then there you go. That is the final product. And you just pour that sauce right on over.
Take a little bit with our shallot, just like this.
Before we go, what are some staples that we should have on hand, whether we're doing French cooking or any kind of cooking?
Staples you should have on hand would be unsalted butter. You should have some vegetable stocks, maybe some chicken stock in your pantry as well. I would have fresh fruits and vegetables, obviously. Canned goods are good, tomatoes, beans, things like that. Have some chicken on hand in your, yeah, it's really just the basics.
I love it. All right, well, thanks a lot. That looks delicious. For more information and the recipe, you can also go to celebratedcuisine.com.